You need to slow down. Rest? What is that? Oh no, I have to get this done. Stop, slow down. Rest. It's time to play. What? Slow? Stop! Rest at the crossroads.
What if your body is rusting from the inside and nobody told you? I am back with my mom, Akila T.K., author of the N8 Whole Person Health and Wellness Workbook. We're staying in the physical domain, but not just what your body feels, what's damaging it on a cellular level. If you're in the running on fumes lane, this one is for you. Your body isn't just on autopilot, it's asking for tools to clean up the rust. Join us for our conversations at the intersection of age, calling, and capacity. We don't run from the crossroads, we rest in it. This is Rest at the Crossroads. How are you today? Just a quick, check in. How are things going?
Things are going well. I am being enlightened. I'm being enlightened about being my best self, not chasing the rat race, as it were, really slowing things down and looking at what works for my body, my mind, my life.
That's good. We had initially been in the physical domain of the different health domains in your book. And we're talking about the body, how the body keeps score, but who's keeping the body. And as we continue in this vein, you were talking about antioxidants today, oxidative stress, and moringa. So we're going to just jump in here a little bit. As we begin, I want to ask you, what is oxidative stress? In plain language, can you paint a picture for us?
Yes. So oxidative stress is the body's chemical responses going haywire. So the body works through chemistry. To take an example, the tree makes its own food. In its leaves, it has chlorophyll and there's water. And then there's carbon dioxide that we breathe out. Now, carbon dioxide is noxious waste. It's toxin. It is a waste product that comes from respiration. That means breathing in and breathing out. We're always breathing in and breathing out. Now, it seems simple that we're breathing in. Yeah, breathe in and breathe out. Everybody take a breathe in and breathe out. That seems so simple. There's a lot of things that are happening with breathing in and breathing out. We don't just breathe out carbon dioxide. We breathe out water and ATP energy. So when that tree takes in energy from the sun, it mixes it with water, chlorophyll, and the carbon dioxide it gets from us. Now, that carbon dioxide we cannot use. If we were left in a room with carbon dioxide and no oxygen, we'd die because we need oxygen to live. Where does that oxygen come from? It comes from the tree. The tree gives us oxygen and food, like an apple tree gives us apples and oxygen, and we take that and we create energy in our body. That energy keeps us going. That energy is in the mitochondria of the cell, mitochondria, or that's a lot of mitochondria. We have 1,000 mitochondria in one cell, and we have trillions of cells in the body. So at the same time, our body is producing energy, and the byproduct of producing energy is called oxidation. And that means that a free radical is often released when the body metabolizes food, when it breathes in and breathes out, when it takes the food from the tree and uses that food with oxygen to produce energy. And that energy is our life. That is how we express our being. It's not in the corpse or the Latin word for the body, the corpus. The body without energy and breath is what? It's a dead body. Without that energy, it's a dead body. So the life process is to take that energy and protect ourselves from disease. The body fights disease with that energy. The body metabolizes food with that energy. The body contracts and releases the muscles from that energy. The body sends signals to the brain with that energy. Everything that happens in life happens through the energy, and the byproducts are oxidation. Now, if that oxidation is not neutralized, it can destroy the body. How? So now naturally, if we have molecules that neutralize those oxidative molecules and it neutralizes it and it comes out of the body, maybe like carbon dioxide or like water or chemicals that the body can release. However, if there's a lot of free radicals produced in our body because we don't have any neutralizing agents in our body, then oxidative stress occurs. A free radical is a molecule that steals electrons from cells or parts of cells, from the mitochondria, from the protein, or from the electron shell, outer shell of the cell. If there are too many free radicals in the body, then the cells themselves become unstable. And that means that the cell becomes like a free radical. It starts stealing electrons from other cells. And once electrons have been stolen from the other cells, they create oxidative stress in the body. Many cells that are stealing electrons from other cells. It's like a community with a lot of thieves in it. There's oxidative stress in that community because there's instability. There are problems because these cells are stealing from other cells. And it all started with the free radical that stole an electron from a healthy cell. So that's what oxidative stress is.
Nice. I was getting this in my head, this analogy of going into like a corner store. You go into a corner store, you're about to pay for something, but somebody comes in and they're just stealing stuff and then they tag you're it and then you become a thief as well. And then you just start stealing from the store. So those are
That's
free
a good
radicals.
analogy.
Thank you for that explanation about what oxidative stress is. So now I guess we want to talk about how antioxidants work, how they can help us. So what's actually happening inside the body during oxidative stress is what we just talked about. But what is being damaged at that point? When you have oxidative stress, what is being damaged in the body?
Okay, what's being damaged are cells. Cells are being damaged during oxidative stress. And the cell is a foundation of all the organs. The cell is full of smaller particles, but it is the foundation of the organs. So when cells are damaged, then organs are damaged. And cancer and disease start at the cell level. So that's what's happening during oxidative stress.
Makes sense. So, I think you just actually answered this question, but why should the average person care? What does it look like in daily life? Your energy, your skin, getting sick. You talked about cancer. Why should we care as somebody who's not a scientist, a doctor, a nurse?
Yeah, good question. A lot of times we don't think at a cellular level. We think at what we're feeling, who we're relating to, what I'm sitting on, what kind of fun I'm going to have. Often we don't think about how our body supports our life. But the life is not the body. The life comes through the body, and the body and the life work together. So while as we might be thinking about what kind of fun we're going to have on the cruise, surely if we were to have an accident in our body, like we were hiking and this happened, that actually modified how I did my vacation. So when we think about cells, we're thinking about how what we do affects our life. When we think about oxidation or oxidative stress, we're thinking about how what happens in our atmosphere affects how we receive the energy and affects how we maintain the body to continue our life. So understanding what happens at the cell level is very important. We all know that we're not going to drink poison. If somebody tells us that's poison, we know that it's going to affect our body, thereby affect our ability to have fun or do what we want to do. So we just don't do it. And so that's the same principle when we're looking at the cell level.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So where do antioxidants come in? Like, how do they work with the stress?
Okay. So first we need to understand what a cell looks like. A cell, and we're not going totally into the cell, but we know that inside the cell there's mitochondria, and they produce energy. They produce energy from glucose and oxygen. Glucose comes from your food, and oxygen is what you breathe in. Those go into the mitochondria, and it produces energy, like little batteries all over your body. Without this energy, you wouldn't work. You don't put a battery inside your body. You have mitochondria. On the outside of the cell, there's the outer ring, and that's where the oxidative stress happens. There are paired electrons. Electrons move toward protons, and that's what creates current or electricity. I don't know if you knew, but your body runs by electricity. All things run by electricity. Do you feel the heat? Yeah. Just do that experiment. When you rub your hands together, what are you feeling? It's heat. There is movement going on. There's electricity in your body. Yeah, it's hot. So on the outer ring of a cell, there are paired electrons, and that creates stability. Now, when your body goes through different chemical processes, a byproduct of that chemical process is called a free radical. Now, if the cell were a big bustling city, a free radical would be a spark flying around inside that cell. Now, the thing about a free radical is that it has an odd number of electrons on its outer ring. But in order for a molecule or a cell to be stable, it needs to have two or a paired number of electrons. So free radicals are always stealing electrons from cells, which creates instability for the cells. When that cell has an odd number of electrons, now it goes looking for an electron so it can be stable. And this is what creates oxidative stress. Now you can understand how an antioxidant will work. An antioxidant has extra electrons on the outer ring, so it can lend electrons to those free radicals and create stability. Once that antioxidant lends the electron to the free radical, that free radical becomes neutralized and it is no longer a threat to the cell. It becomes neutralized and the body can get rid of it through respiration, through elimination, and then the community becomes happy again. Now, all of those free radicals are not bad in and of themselves if there is not oxidative stress, because those free radicals also signal cells or fighter cells to get rid of bacteria that causes disease. So those free radicals are communicators. They also do a job. But when they become too numerous and there's too much instability, they wreak havoc in the body.
That makes sense. Kind of like insects. Sometimes we don't want them around. When there's too many, it's a problem, but they actually are doing a work. So that's pretty good. So are all antioxidants the same, or do different ones have different jobs in the body?
Well, antioxidizing is a process of eliminating oxidation. So they decrease the breakdown of the body. All right. However, there are different antioxidants. They all do the same, but there are different antioxidants. For instance, legumes or beans or seeds are antioxidants. There are greens. There are kale greens and turnip greens and mustard greens and collard greens. Those are antioxidizing agents. So they all have the same purpose, but they look different as they go in your body. Okay. So let's look at different processes. And then for this, we're going to take the analogy of the acid-base balance. The acid-base balance we've heard of, like if something's acidic or is alkaline or basic or in the middle. So it would look like a line like this. Up here, it's alkaline or basic. Down here is acidic. And in the middle is neutral. So our bodies like to be at neutral. The blood has a different pH. The urine has a different pH. There are different pHs in the body, but the body basically likes to stay at neutral.
Okay, so in a personal sense, what are 2 or 3 ways you personally fight oxidative stress on a day-to-day basis?
So 2 ways. One way is to keep noxious materials out of your body, like not smoking, not vaping, trying to stay away from air pollution, staying away from black mold, staying away from those things that are toxic that cause oxidative stress. And the other way is to neutralize oxidative stress, which would be by increasing your fruits and vegetables, increasing your water, increasing things like moringa, which is a very nutrient-dense plant that has 46 antioxidants in the plant. So one way is to keep toxins out, and the other way is to neutralize the toxins.
Nice. So that actually goes into what I was going to ask. We're going to get into moringa in just a little bit, but what are certain foods that fight against it? Give us your top 5 foods that will fight against oxidative stress.
Number 1, moringa. Almonds, millet, lentils, water.
Okay, those are the top 5. All right, let's talk moringa. You mentioned it a couple of times. Why do you see the moringa plant as a solution? What makes it different from other greens or supplements?
Okay, moringa is a very nutrient dense plant, and I have some information here. Moringa has been used for over 3,000 years in an ancient healing art called Ayurveda. It's also been used for decades and centuries as plant-based medicines. Researchers in the West have looked into this plant to see what the people of the East saw, and even in our nation and the National Institutes of Health, we have studied and found 46 antioxidants in this plant. 46. And that's huge. And I can stop right there, but there are other benefits of this plant. But since we're talking about oxidative stress and reducing oxidative stress, moringa has 46 antioxidants.
Nice. And also, if you could just give like a little bit of a personal testimony, we talked about previously how, sometimes the body says, no, this is what's going to happen. And then that can change what happens with your vacation. You had a little spill, but what did we do? And it healed quite quickly.
Let's talk about this, okay? My daughter here just turned 40. We did a Fit at 40 challenge, which means her cousin said, hey, girl, we're going to turn 40 and I see a place that we can go. We can go to this place in Colorado and walk 2,678 stairs. And so she invited us and some of us, another daughter, friends, and other people to go walk these stairs. There were 4 of us who took the challenge. And we didn't know what to expect, but we started walking stairs and drinking water in a backpack with a tube on it, and eating a little bit of food and going to the gym and getting on stair climbers, whatnot. And we ended up there last week. We didn't know that when we got out of that car, we were going to start huffing and puffing before we even got to the base of that mountain. I didn't know that, but we went on. There were hundreds of people with goodwill all around us. You can do this, you got this, and showing us how to do this. And we will walk a few stairs and stop, walk a few stairs and stop, get to a certain point, 1,000, 2,000. Eventually we were at the top celebrating. We had gone about 3.5 hours of walking upstairs, some high stairs, 4 hours. Our 25-year-old, she got up there in an hour, okay? But we're older. Now I'm 63, okay? So all of us were at our different levels of ages, but all of us got to the top. And we celebrated, not thinking about how we're going to get down. So we know we're not supposed to walk back down the stairs, which some people are doing, but we were looking at these high stairs. That could be dangerous. We could spill forward. So we went the trail, which was recommended. We had no idea how steep the beginning of that trail was, or if we were even in the right place. But alas, me and my city walking shoes was on this trail. Okay. And I slid. First, I slid down. I said, okay, I'll get back up. So then eventually I fell. My knee went behind me. I yelled out because I didn't know how I was going to get back down the stairs. I walked up for 4 hours. But my son-in-law had given me sticks. So we were going down the hill and I was doing well till about 10 minutes and I couldn't walk anymore. Okay, you see this here? You see this cut? It was a gash. My daughter said she can look in it and see in it, okay? And then this was something else. What I did was I put aloe vera jelly, tea tree oil, and shea butter on it. And the next day I put moringa inside of it. This has healed very well. With the itching and everything, this has healed very well. This was a natural healing product. So it went in there and fought what was going on to make this a sore on the body. It went and fought the oxidizing process that was going on. Yeah. And sent its antioxidants for the healing of this wound. But I was also drinking it. So it also fought what was going on in my knee. My knee healed in 3 days. The first day I could not walk. The second day I was limping. The third day I was running. Remember we ran down the hill when it was raining? So I will attribute that to taking that moringa on the inside as well. Yeah.
Very nice. So, for someone new to moringa, how should they start? Tea, powder, capsules? Are there any cautions about taking this moringa?
So yeah, I looked up the research on moringa to see how much you could use. According to the research, you can't use too much, but you can get stomach upset. So the recommendation is to use 2 teaspoons. 1 teaspoon might not be enough. 3 teaspoons might give you stomach upset. You can actually cook it in your bread. That's what the research showed. You can use a tea. You can use it in shake. You can make sauces with it. It does have a mild flavor. Some people are very sensitive to, "Well, I don't like the way that tastes." And if you're one of those type of people, I would encourage you to use it in the least amount of food so you can just go on and get done with it. Use it as medicine. You can mix it in a tea, put honey in it, and suck it like an elixir in your teaspoons. So I usually use it in shake. I put blueberries, I put my banana, I put the moringa, and I put some ginger and lemon, and I whip it up, put some little almond milk, and I drink that down.
Very good. So, that's a good supplement to take in. And we've also learned that it actually helps, externally too. Well, in your case, at least. So, how does lowering oxidative stress help us rest physically? What is the connection? How does it help us rest?
Well, first of all, you know that you're doing what you can to place your body in right relation to nature so it can be healed. Sometimes we carry guilt about what we're not doing. We're not doing what we know to do. So first of all, you can rest assured that you are helping your body to reduce oxidative stress. But second of all, you're doing it. Once you use that moringa, once you use your water to neutralize those free radicals, your body does it. You can rest assured that your body is doing what it needs to do. You can rest because you're taking care of your body.
Okay, so if someone could only do one thing this week to help their body with oxidative stress, what should it be? One thing.
Drink more water.
Water is the key, guys.
Yeah. But I say that with a caveat. If you're smoking, you need to stop smoking because that's bringing in those toxins in your body.
So I guess we would say for those who know that they are introducing toxins into their body in their regular daily routine, the one thing is to stop with the
Yes.
toxins.
Yes.
And then for those of you who don't know or who are not aware or who are not introducing toxins to your body, start by drinking water.
I want to tell you want to exercise as well because I understand the connection between whole person wellness. There is an additive or exponential effect when you use remedies together. So you would put the water and you would put the exercise and rest together, and you wouldn't just get an added 1 plus 2 plus 3, like rest plus exercise plus water equals good health. You would actually get something like singing in 4-part harmony, adding exercise and water and rest. There are those harmonies that come between doing those things together. So it's not just 3 things, it turns into bigger than that. So me and my whole person brain, you want to add that exercise while you're drinking that water and make sure you get some rest.
Full chorus. Okay, as we close, what is the biggest myth people believe about antioxidants or stress that you want to clear up? A lot of times we see commercials like, these are antioxidants, take this for antioxidants. Maybe they don't actually know what it is. What do you think is the biggest myth that people believe about stress?
Okay, let's start with stress. One of the biggest myths that people believe about stress is that stress is bad. Stress is bad. And I say that because, distress is bad, but there is eustress, which is good. There's 2 types of stress. Without stress, there is no life. You're going to stress some type of muscle when you get out of bed. So there is eustress and there is distress. So I want to dispel that myth about not having stress. I would encourage people to have eustress, like the burn that you get when you exercise going up those stairs, or the stress that you have when you drink a cup of water and you don't like water. It might be stressful, drink it anyway. And yes, we don't want distress because that will cause oxidative stress. We don't want to be in situations where we're not wanted and we're always standing up for ourselves and standing up. We always have to fight people just to be who we are. That could be a stressful situation. You might want to veer away from that. Or the stress that comes when you overeat, the stress that you put on your body to actually digest all of that food, that is distress. But eustress would be resisting the temptation to eat all of that food. That could be stressful too. Smelling it and wanting it and resisting it. That's stressful, but that's eustress.
As you were saying, resisting, last time we talked about the body on autopilot, like going to those chips and you see those things. And now we can say, okay, we're taking the body off of autopilot, right? We're going to embrace that stress, right? Make that decision to do something different. We want everybody to try one antioxidant food. She gave you 5.
Moringa, millet, almonds, lentils, and water. Try one
Okay,
of those.
so take those 5, try one of those 5 this week, okay? Whenever you're watching it, whenever you watch this is the start of your week, the start of 7 days. Notice how you feel. So now you have the tools to take your body off of autopilot and clean up the rest. Thanks for mapping that out for us today, Mom. Try one antioxidant food or moringa this week and notice how you feel. We'll see you next time at the Crossroads.